is you desperately want that KP. But if they focus it too much, if all three of them were to 1-2-3 a player, for example, they leave themselves vulnerable to potentially being pushed up the ropes. They have to be watching all these angles.
The Dungeon Masters already got a win to their name. However, damage being done here to X-Ins. The shields will be broken, which is going to force a battle to be used. However, he's just lining people up here, and he is beaming with the L-Star. And trying to deliver some L's to the team who are down on that low ground. He's going to manage to take down one into Zacko from Kick. And Kick kind of in a shambles at the moment as all these teams are in Skyhook, like I mentioned, all of a sudden realize it's time to move. And there's a lot of teams ahead of us.
Tell you what, New Esports are picking up kill upon kill upon kill, and you can see that Kashira's just taken the kill leader as well with 4. I think they're up to about 7 or 8 kills, and there's only been 5 teams wiped. So potentially a big game on the horizon for New Esports if they carry on with this form, but of course they could fall right in front of our very eyes. As 789 are not going down in 20th position at this stage. They are going to be very much staying alive a little bit further. They've got their first points on the board by being able to get into the top 15, so they can finally get that goose egg off of their back, and now they can look towards trying to push on here in the last 3 games of Week 1 approach.
789 have got a difficult journey, but it's been a difficult game for them, and to be honest, it's been a difficult day. If they could turn it around here, we'll fill them with the confidence they need to move into our final 2 games and really change things around, put themselves back on track. But Solo Q Goats, you can see, still going to be safe in the very corner of that building. For now, they're just trying to do the damage on these teams moving in, try and pick up some KP as they will have the opportunity to do so, but you can see where that zone pool is. And that's a real giveaway, to be honest with you, where that zone 2 was. The fact that there was so much of the zone in towards the backside of Trials and towards the north, it's kind of given the indication that it would be moving up there. So the teams are in Skyhook. Maybe that's something for them to look at. Easier said than done because there's playable areas inside of Skyhook, Dan, but not so many towards the trial site.
Yeah, it was a risk to try and take trials of the teams that were already there and already holding it. So a lot of teams just accepted their fate almost and said, look, we'll worry about that a little bit later. We'll let other teams be eliminated from the game. Let's ensure we get more placement points, and then we'll think about how we're going to get into that circle once we have to cross that bridge. And now they do have to cross that bridge. Very shortly, they are going to be stuck in a situation where they either have to Valk up in the air and try and take a spot off someone else, or they need to run across and use a Gibby bubble. Red Dragon going for option A. They're Valking up, they're taking high ground, but you need to get back onto that low ground soon.
They're not able to set up on those out of bounds for too long anymore after the changes to that, which means they're going to have to make a move. However, you can see we jump back on board with the end of the Solo Q Goats fight as we saw at the very start of it, and they're looking extremely healthy. All 3 players still alive. The armor swaps have come in. Zipper just needs to pop a couple of cells to get him back into a good position, but now Red Dragon have been holding down this choke for so long. They're going to have to do something magical. There's a nice quick scope, but it's not enough. Kungana now moving in, and it's time for them to make a move in this lobby.
So it was 789 who were wiped by the Solo Q Goats, so at least they got a little bit further, but not quite as far as they maybe would have liked, but at least it wasn't 20th. But IG, Invictus, they've dropped off the top. Oh, sorry, they've moved off the top of the trials just to this really sneaky spot, which I love to try and hold when trials is the area where the zone is finishing, because you've got so much angles to work with. You can watch the teams coming up the zip. You can also look down from the teams that are pushing in from Skyhook, but it's about then escaping that point if the circle does just this, moves down towards the trailers. Kungana, though, they have the right idea here. They want to take these trailers nice and early.
Graceful's trying to make that play, and he's going to make a play as well. Underrated of the team inside of the trailer. Well, 2 of them are now inside of the trailer because Graceful and his teammates are doing a heck of a lot of work here as Kungana trying to take that power position off of Underrated. And this would be a little bit of revenge for the B-52 bomber move that came in earlier from them. Graceful doing so much work with that L-Star.
Yeah, that must have felt good, taking down K-Swinny, I'm sure, for Graceful. Sweet, sweet revenge for sure. But they need to keep an eye on all these other teams at the same point, even though Kungana would like to take that position off of Underrated here. They're well aware that they could also be bombarded by grenades. So there's a lot of consideration they have to go through. Do we want to take this position? Do we want to hold on to these rocks, which give us a little bit more cover, and we're not as vulnerable to the grenades? But they certainly do want the KP. That's what's waiting in this trailer. They do finish off Laser. It is going to be 7 spots remaining, and at least that's job done from Kungana. That's exactly what they needed.
Really, really good, and a great position for Kungana as well. Now, the Valkyrie teams might have a way to get towards this end zone, speaking of which, well, seeing the truth as I looked in my crystal ball, was Solo Q Goats now going to take to the skies with the Skyward Dive and try and find somewhere to play. The difficulty here is What's the teams going to do? What they land on? They're going to be a little bit pissed off with things down because they might have their game scuppered as Solo Q Goat's going to be able to land and stabilize all of these options available. And at the moment, it looks like Solo Q Goat are just going to be falling to their knees on their back and be eliminated from the lobby.
They fall into Kungana's grasp, and I wonder where Invictus go from this. You saw the portal went out, because they managed to survive. Ranches and Fito have fallen. Invictus are down to just 2. So yes, okay, they were able to get the portal off, but is it going to be enough to get some kills here? It does look like KP is picked up. So job done at the very least here, because Rats were taken down by Invictus. They've got themselves into the top 4, and it looks like they've survived for now. But for how long? 50 seconds remaining till they have to move, and grenades are flying from everywhere.
Be an armor swap available though from those death boxes, providing a little bit of artificial cover at just the right time. Ghana's still in a great spot though, as fortunately for Bryn, he's going to be falling. Blast is trying to survive for now. It's going to take a little bit of zone damage here, and we'll be able to re-enter with that gold armor. However, he's going to be swarmed immediately. That will be Victus eliminated. Dungeon Masters once again in the final reckoning, as we're now down to 3.
Yeah, Dungeon Masters, who were central Skyhook for quite some time, have just been able to worm their way around the map and position themselves in a place where they could watch everything unfold. Again, good trigger discipline, not giving away their position, but then getting involved in a fight when they recognize they can pick up a comfortable amount of KP without much risk involved in it. But with 3 seconds left, they're going to have to start moving towards the center of this circle. But of course, with it being round 6, we know it's a slow one, and they do have information. You can see by those pings, they recognize where Kungana are. They know pretty much where the 2 remaining teams are going to be here, and they just need to try and initiate a fight. Try and get those 2 teams to fight each other, but there has been a knock already.
Yeah, knock already. The Gibby Bubble's going to go down. However, the EMP is going to slow that down. It's going to do damage as well. And I tell you what, Kungana are just watching all of this happen. If they see another knock, they may be moving in to try and be the third party here, Dan. You feel like Kungana are probably in the best position to maybe win this game.
Kungana definitely are, because that fight has happened elsewhere, or at least it was initiated by the other 2 teams. It gave all that information back to Kungana and gave them the power position to decide when and if they want to push. But if that fight does go elsewhere, if UE Sports decide to push in as well, but they have. UE Sports have pushed the other team. They've pushed Dungeon Masters. They've got the first kill. So yes, advantage Kungana here. They know now, if they play this correctly, they very much have a win on the horizon.
Here comes the utility. Here comes the grenades. And even though they managed to get a reset, they're just caught between rock and ice. Kungana just keeping their eyes locked, keeping their triggers locked, and keeping those sights locked onto the opponents inside of that truck. And unless they make a huge mistake here, you have to feel they will be the winners of this game. But Dungeon Masters kind of going deep into the well here, deep into the playbook to try and survive long enough to maybe get second place, or maybe jump in if damage is done to Kungana here from that skyward dive and take home first place.
Yeah, Dungeon Masters just wanted a second place here. They wanted to ensure that, and as they arrive to the ground, they arrive to the guns of Kungana. So after holding for so long, Kungana will take the W here. Very impressed with what I've just seen. And now we have to see just how much KP Kungana are able to pick up, because outside of that, New Esports had found so much earlier in the game as well. So I think there was a lot of kills shared between these 2 teams.